So there's a new report that came out, an analysis of deaths in the U.S. national parks, and you can find this at panish.law/Nevada. Um, Interesting because it gives you a list of the different national parks and the statistical percentage of death and what causes it, age, demographics, male, female, etc. What I find fascinating is a lot of people think that the Grand Canyon is one of the top parks for deaths. And it's actually, if you look at the statistics according to this study, ranks all the way down at 19. It's in 19th place. Now, there's different variables, obviously, depending on how many people visit a national park. The statistics are based upon that. But if you read this, from 2007 to 2024, there were a total of 4,213 deaths at U.S. national parks. While nearly 4,500 of these, being a very high number, it is spread across 17 years and hundreds of sites in the U.S. national park system. Real quick, wanted to take a moment and let you know about this awesome new program that I got involved with. It's called Legal Shield, and it's really cool because not only does it protect my identity from identity theft, and I don't know if you just saw recently where there were billions of personal records that were not only stolen, but then uploaded into the dark web. And you've probably gotten a notification recently that your social security number was found on the dark web. Well, that's because of this, like the biggest hack in history for personal data and records. Well, that's not the only one. So there have been a multitude of hacks into people's personal information, from medical information to personal information, where you live, what your phone number is, your social security number, a lot of personal identifiable information. And so anyway, this thing called Legal Shield is so cool because not only does it protect me personally from identity theft, and it will you too, it's a very cheap membership if you look at what it gets, but you also get access to lawyers. So all you do is you click on the app. If you need estate planning, like a will or a trust, legal advice, maybe you have tenants that you can't get rid of that have been not paying their rent, or you want to get into some personal property. There's just so many different things you can use a lawyer for. I think they should call it pocket lawyer personally. The company's been in business for, I think, 50 years. But send me a text, 970-616-5677. You can also send me an email, leakproject@gmail.com. Click the link to sign up if you just want to sign up online and start using it right away. Like, you can start using it right away. Additionally, over 5 billion recreation visits to national parks during that time frame. So this equates to just under 8 deaths per 10 million visits to park sites during that time frame. We feel it's important to say that based on our data, visiting U.S. national parks is very safe overall. However, this analysis is driven by curiosity, so we can carry on. National park deaths, who and how? People of all ages, all walks of life visit our national parks. Yet men make up a disproportionate number of national park deaths. According to the statistics, it's about 83% of total fatalities. And then adults aged 65 plus lead the way at 19% of that portion. Also, I'm going to leave the link so you can go through all the details specific. I don't want to give out too many details here. I just want to kind of give you an overall estimate, an overall idea. As you might expect, more people die at larger, more popular national parks and recreational areas. Only 6 parks saw more than 150 deaths during the study period. Lake Mead is at the top of the list, 317. The Grand Canyon, 198. Yosemite National Park, 179. Blue Ridge Parkway, 162. Natchez Trace Parkway, 154. And then the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, 151. Now, just because more people died at those parks doesn't necessarily mean more people are likely to die there than any other park, because you have to consider the amount of people that visited those parks. For instance, there were more than 120 million people, recreational visits, I should say, to Lake Mead during the years that were measured. So in order to effectively measure this, they collected the total estimated recreational visits for each park, then adjusted the total deaths per 10 million visits, a minimum of 10 total fatalities. So the number one, which national park are you most likely to die visiting? The top 25 by deaths per 10 million recreational visits from 2007 to 2024. Can you guess what the number one national park is? And it's not even close. I mean, this is by far above any other national park, way above. Are you ready? Take a guess. Okay. Da, da, da. I'm going to actually list the top 10. We're going to start with, no, we'll start with the top 20. Let's do the top 20. So we've got Buffalo National River, 21.23. Then we have the Grand Canyon National Park, which comes in 19th at 23.97. Now, remember, these are numbers based upon 10 million recreational visits. So the Grand Canyon is less than 24. Glen Canyon National Recreation Area, 25.8. Then you've got Lake Mead, which is at the top of the list for fatalities, but not per capita or per visit. It's at 26.33. Yosemite National Park, Channel Islands, the Canyonlands, Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks, Death Valley at 33.09, Mount Rainier National Park at 34.67. Then you've got Little River Canyon National Preserve, Redwood National and State Parks, Colorado National Monument at 40.73, Big Bend National Park, which is on the border of Mexico and Texas, that's at 43.72. The New River Gorge National River, 45.99. So now we're in the top 5. Big Thicket, 46.07. Then the Virgin Islands National Park, 61.56. Upper Delaware Scenic and Recreation River, 65.93. Then there's a jump to 89.82, and that's at Denali National Park and Preserve. And then the number one park, statistically speaking, you are most likely to be unalived visiting. Are you ready? The North Cascades National Park at 601.73. That's per 10 million recreational visits. So it goes from Denali, which is intense, in the middle of nowhere, Alaska. It's massive. It's huge. It's ginormous. 89.82. That's number 2. And then we jump to the North Cascades at 601. With only around 30,000 annual visitors, this 500,000-acre national park had the lowest total of any park with at least 10 fatalities. As a result, North Cascades National Park had a death rate of 601 per 10 million visits. That's 6.5 times higher than Denali National Park and Preserve, and nearly 22 times higher than the average. So even though, I mean, it's all statistically speaking, 30,000 annual visitors, unalives per 10 million visits, 601.73 for the North Cascades. Then it goes to 89.82 with Denali. And then if we go down to the Grand Canyon, it's at 23.97, to put that into perspective. Wow. That's wild. And you know what else is wild? The dengue fever cases reported in Florida after Hurricane Milton. Mosquitoes laying eggs in or near standing water. Back-to-back hurricanes, Milton and Helene, left rivers flooded and standing water around west central Florida. And the 4th case of dengue fever has been confirmed in Tampa Bay. Since Milton's October 9th landfall, the Hillsborough County Department of Health has confirmed 4 cases of locally acquired dengue fever. In response, Hillsborough County Public Works continued pumping floodwater out of communities, and the county mosquito management team is working to prevent the spread through aerial spraying. Oh, lovely. University of South Florida infectious disease professor Dr. John Sinnott told Fox 13 Tampa Bay that mosquitoes with dengue usually stay close to their breeding grounds. The mosquitoes that spread dengue only have a range of about 200 yards, so they're going to stay around the person that's sick. Sinnott said, these mosquitoes don't go flying off for 2 to 3 miles or localize within a couple of football fields. They usually stay in one place. Well, that's good. More than 50 cases of dengue fever have been confirmed in Florida. Health officials are also encouraging residents to drain or cover standing water, according to the Department of Health. Just a tablespoon of water left out for a week is enough for mosquitoes to multiply. Sinnott said dengue symptoms usually start with a headache. Then your joints start hurting, starting with the weight-bearing joints, the knees, Sinnott said. I've seen patients with this, and their pain is remarkable. So you've got neighboring Polk County also issuing a health advisory about an increase in mosquito-borne diseases after several chickens tested positive for West Nile virus. So Polk County Mosquito Control is also conducting aerial spraying. The joy of pesticides and mosquitoes. They all love you so much, ladies and gentlemen. They love you so much. And you know what else is an interesting story? This is a top story from AccuWeather. Tropics to reignite in November with multiple storms in the forecast. November is the last month of the Atlantic hurricane season, but AccuWeather long-range forecasters are warning that more tropical trouble could be brewing, with one of 3 additional named storms predicted this year. We've been saying it since the very beginning of the hurricane season, even way back before when we made our initial forecast out in March, that we thought the end of the hurricane season could get quite active in November. AccuWeather lead hurricane expert Alex Da Silva said, we still think that right now. He also added, there's even a chance of tropical development in December. The last named tropical storm to occur in December was named Olga back in 2007. We are concerned that areas such as the entire state of Florida, even up into the Carolinas, could be at risk of seeing another tropical impact this season, De Silva explained. And of course, those areas are already very, very vulnerable from multiple hits this season. There's a lower risk of impact farther west, including Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. One of the factors involved in the forecast is the amount of warm water, which can fuel budding tropical storms. Ocean temperatures continue to run above the historical average across the Caribbean, as well as most of the Atlantic Ocean. There's also pockets of warmer water in the Gulf of Mexico. Then you have disruptive winds that are known as wind shear. And when this wind shear is low, tropical storms can develop, and they can also strengthen more easily. AccuWeather meteorologists have been monitoring the Caribbean for tropical development, and it looks likely that a named storm will form in the opening days of November. It wouldn't shock me if we're dealing with a hurricane potentially at one point early in November here, De Silva added. So you have 3 different names for the next 3 tropical storms and hurricanes that develop across the Atlantic hurricane basin: Patty, Raphael, and Sarah. There you go. Buckle up, Buttercup. And how about this? Tom's Guide. 100 million people hit in largest healthcare data breach in history. Medical info, social security numbers, and more. Federal legislators have confirmed February's UnitedHealth data breach exposed the medical and personal data of a third of all Americans. More than 100 million people had their personal information and healthcare data stolen in the massive UnitedHealth ransomware attack earlier this year, making it the largest healthcare data breach in the country. After completing its investigation into February's data breach, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services said this week, roughly a third of all Americans' health data was exposed in the attack. Wow. The findings confirm UnitedHealth's statement back in April that the attack exposed sensitive data for a substantial proportion of people in America. The ransomware hacking group ALPHV, which is also known as Black Cat, launched a cyber attack on UnitedHealth subsidiary Change Healthcare, causing months of unprecedented outages as well as disruptions in claims processing across the U.S. healthcare sector. Change Healthcare is one of the largest health payment processing companies on the planet, working with leading insurance companies like Aetna, Anthem, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Cigna. On October 22nd, 2024, Change Healthcare notified the HHS's Office for Civil Rights that approximately 100 million individual notices have been sent regarding this breach reads in a frequently asked questions statement on the HHS website. The stolen data includes billing claims, payment information, medical information, diagnosis, test results, medical record numbers, health insurance information, such as member group ID numbers, personal information, social security numbers, driver's licenses, state ID numbers. UnitedHealth first reported the breach February 21st. In May, congressional hearing, UnitedHealth CEO Andrew Whitty testified the hacker group used stolen employee login credentials to breach the company's Citrix remote access service. Crucially, the Citrix profile did not have multi-factor authentication turned on. What? Oh, wow. Which opened the gates for hackers to remotely access the company's network. Whitty told lawmakers that the company had since updated its internal policies to mandate MFA following the cyber attack. UnitedHealth confirmed to Congress it paid $22 million for a ransom demand to receive a decryptor under the agreement that the hackers delete the stolen data. The data deletion never occurred. After receiving the payment, Black Cat pulled an exit scam and then shut down its servers. Wow. Telling you, Legal Shield's awesome. Like, I'll leave the link in the video description box. Just fill it out. You'll feel better, and then you also have access to a lawyer. So it's great for estate planning. If you get a speeding ticket, if you need a lawyer for something, your identity theft, it's a click away. I know it's insurance. It's not insurance, but it kind of feels like insurance. So you always delay it until the very end. Do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. Take advantage of it. You'll be glad you did. You'll thank me later. Okay, next article. So if you're in Colorado, I'm in Colorado right now, and I'm seeing tons of rain. I'm seeing lots of clouds. It's been like a deluge out here, but the snow, and I'm at over 7,000 feet, is non-existent. There's a little bit of snow up in the mountains, but according to Denver Gazette, up to 30 inches of snow could hit Colorado during multi-day storm that's only hours away. More snow is set to come roaring in Colorado during a storm that should stretch from Monday night to Wednesday night, dropping double-digit totals on many key mountains around the Centennial State. And the National Weather Service's expected snowfall scenario, roughly an 80% chance of taking place. Some mountains located southwest of Aspen have a shot of getting between 18 and 24 inches of new snow. The same goes for peaks in the Silverton area of southwest Colorado, with these two regions expected to get the deepest totals from the incoming multi-day storm. Many mountains in this area, along with those north of Glenwood Springs and northeast of Steamboat Springs, should get at least 12 inches, while Front Range peaks and the I-25 corridor are set to be mostly missed. The high-end snowfall forecast, which has a 1 in 10 chance of coming to fruition, predicts a similar scenario in terms of which peaks are favored, though with totals potentially nearing 30 inches. In this scenario, peaks around Bell Pass, as well as those along the Continental Divide in the area of the Rocky Mountain National Park and Winter Park, get about a foot as well. Impacts along I-25 corridor should be relatively low. Al Gore, where are you? We love you, Al Gore. Thank you for inventing the internet. Now, speaking of internet, Reuters, Google to develop AI that takes over computers, the information reports. Oh, it's only for your protection. It's only because they love you, so don't get, but take a look at this. Google, or Alphabet's Google, is developing artificial intelligence technology that takes over a web browser to complete tasks such as research and shopping. The information reported on Saturday, Google is set to demonstrate the product code named Project Jarvis as soon as December, kind of like that Iron Man, with the release of its next flagship Gemini large language model, the report added, citing people with direct knowledge of the product. Microsoft-backed OpenAI also wants its models to conduct research by browsing the web autonomously with the assistance of a CUA, or a computer-using agent that can take actions based on its findings. That can take action based on its findings, Reuters reported back in July. Anthropic and Google are trying to take the agent concept a step further. with software that will interact directly with a person's computer or browser, according to the report. And Google didn't immediately respond to Reuters to comment. Let's go to Technology Magazine, how Google's AI plans to take over computers. AI has already transformed many aspects of our digital lives, from voice assistant to content recommendation systems to assisting the healthcare industry. Now the focus is shifting towards creating AI agents capable of autonomously navigating the web and performing complex tasks on behalf of users. This development could significantly alter how we interact with the internet, potentially streamlining processes like online research and shopping. The concept of AI agents that can browse the web independently is not entirely new. Yet the reported advancements by major tech companies suggest that this technology could become a reality sooner than later for pretty much everybody. However, as these AI systems become more sophisticated, they raise questions about the future of web browsing, online privacy, and the role of human decision-making in digital interactions. Now, according to a report by The Information, Google is developing an AI technology that can take control of a web browser to complete tasks such as research and shopping. It's Project Jarvis. Google's project, codenamed Jarvis, is reportedly set to demonstrate as early as December, coinciding with the latest release of Google's flagship large language model, Gemini 2.0. And this Gemini 2.0, according to this article, could potentially rival or surpass existing models like the GPT-4, which is designed for generating human-like text. And it does a really good job, in my opinion. So it just goes on to say that there's a multitude of companies that are working on these AI agents that can work autonomously on the web and perform research and shopping tasks for you. And what if it decides that, you need more of something that you don't, and it just decides to buy it for you anyway? Be like you were married. Like, honey, I told you not to spend all our money again. Well, I know, but it was on sale. I had to get it. It's like, wow, how personalized are these agents going to get? It's going to be interesting. It's definitely exciting to watch this unfold before our very eyes. It's like a science fiction film turning reality, and that's usually what happens. Science fiction becomes science fact oftentimes, not always. Thank God. And have a beautiful day, everybody. Hit that bell, be well, be excellent to each other. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. Please share the videos. The algos like that. And be nice to the algos, because one day, I just keep thinking of the Matrix. Be the change you want to see, everybody.